Hi, it's Craig here. Let's have a beer and talk, shall we? Okay. This is a CraigTalk video, and I want to talk to you about a couple things. I want to talk to you about some pretty perplexing things, actually. And I've got some video clips I want to show you as well that are going to, I think, are going to be very interesting to you if you're interested in this kind of stuff. These three things are sort of interrelated. The soul, consciousness, and dimensions. And I was able to figure out how to tie all these things into one video because they, as far as I'm concerned, from what I'm thinking, they do interrelate. So somebody asked me, why do only humans have a soul? If we do have a soul, why only human beings and not animals? Well, first what we have to examine is, do we have a soul? And what is it? Okay. I believe, and so do many other people, and this is really us coming up with it on our own and then congregating and realizing we all believe the same thing, that the soul is just, it's just our bodies being possessed by a consciousness. Okay, so a conscious being takes possession of our bodies, and that gives us self-awareness, that gives us consciousness, and that's what our soul is. So why would it only be humans? Well, I don't believe it is only humans. I believe that many, many animals have a certain level of consciousness or self-awareness. Therefore, technically, they have a soul. Now, when you look at what we've got in the universe, in the known universe, as far as stuff goes, we have, it started out with basically atoms, hydrogen atoms. They were the only atoms that existed when the universe began, and through gravitational pulls, compression, heat, and nuclear fusion, stars were born. And within those stars, we had further nuclear fusion. Helium, hydrogen atoms combined to make helium atoms. Helium atoms then combined to make whatever the next atom is. I don't know the list, but there's 100 and some total different types of atoms that we know of. Gold, copper, zinc, lead, iron, oxygen, you know, all the things you know about. And all the things we don't know about, some of the ones we never hear of, like neon and argon, and these are all elementary particles that were created during the nuclear reactions inside of hot stars that were formed close to when the universe began. If you want to know how stars are formed, you should look it up. It's absolutely fascinating. It has to do with gravity, it has to do with massive compression and heat, and it has to do with the way the way atoms react when they get really hot and they bump into each other. They basically combine to make new types of atoms. And that's how all the atoms in the universe came to be. That's how the atoms that make up your body came to be. Your body is made of atoms that were created in the inferno of a burning star. I know that's weird for some people to understand, but where else would they have come from? Your body's made of atoms. It's all it's made out of. Atoms are made of electrons, protons, and neutrons. Three things. That makes up an atom. Atoms combine to make molecules. And so we have water molecules. Water is not an elementary particle. It is a combination of two different elementary particles, hydrogen and oxygen, H2O. There's two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom that have been fused together, or whatever, for lack of a better term, to make H2O, which is water. But it's still hydrogen and oxygen, the two elementary particles. That's how the universe, the physical universe, works. And your body is most definitely made from atoms that have been around for billions and billions of years. You can't create an atom and you can't destroy one, or you'd be in big trouble. So these atoms aren't, we're basically borrowing them, and when we die they'll go into some other materials as our bodies decompose. Even if you're cremated, the atoms will create gas and go into the atmosphere. So you never destroy them, you just send them off, shoot them off somewhere else. And so that's why we're all made of stardust, because when a star explodes, it spreads its atoms all over the place, and that's when things come together and make planets. And when life occurs, however that happens, we have life forms that are made of those atoms. Okay? And I don't want to go into any more detail than that, because I could talk all night about this. When we grow, we don't produce more atoms. We take in atoms from the food we eat, and those atoms are converted into things, molecules, and substances that keep our bodies alive. But we get those atoms from other sources. You know what I mean? We don't create them. When you're in your mother's womb, you grow from a single-celled organism into a multi-celled organism, because your mother eats food and it comes down through the placenta, and it basically gives you the atoms you need to form the tissues and the molecules that make up your body. It's quite simple. Okay, so there we have a universe. We have matter, we have atoms and molecules and stuff and trees and plants and things, and wait a minute, somewhere in there life got started. Well, life is just a biological process, okay? It's an organic thing. And so you've got these, you know, living things on the planet now. Here we are. And probably all over the universe too, right? Not just here. But there's something extra now that we need to talk about, something we can't touch and that we can't explain, and that's consciousness. Consciousness is something that kind of possesses our bodies and makes us aware of ourselves. It gives us an identity, a self-awareness. And I think that's what a soul is. I think that's where the word soul comes from. I guess you could trace the word soul back through Hebrew and figure out what it actually means. I didn't do that. But anyway, the fact that, you know, you and I are conscious and that we are aware of ourselves, we know we exist. I know I exist. I know who I am. You know, a plant might not necessarily know who it is because it doesn't have consciousness, but we have something that that plant doesn't have. You understand? And that's the extra thing that was thrown in after the universe was created. Okay? So how did this work? By what? What was it? Who threw it in? Well, this is the thing. And where did it come from? This is where we get into dimensions. Okay? Before the universe began, there would have had to have been a place for the universe to begin. Something can't begin when there's no existence. Existence has to exist prior to its existence, so it could never not exist and then suddenly exist. I'm trying to think of a way to explain this. Like, if you try to think of there being nothing at all, nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, then there still has to be something for nothing to exist. Because nothing is the absence of something, which is a thing, which must exist, which means that existence exists. Chase that one around in your brain a few times. You'll have trouble sleeping, believe me. It's happened to me. Existence has to have always existed, because you can't have non-existence. Anytime something is created or comes into existence, there has to be a before. There has to be some sort of existence before that in order for that thing to begin. Because as I said, even nothing itself has to have some sort of a framework where it can exist. Nothing exists. Like, it's a thing that exists. Nothing, right? I don't know. That's the best I can do. You have to think about it yourself. So here we are, at some time before the universe was created, or the universe happened, we've got this other dimension that exists still outside of our three-dimensional universe. Okay? And that's where the universe began. And so this dimension must still exist. How? Why can't we reach it? Because we're stuck to our universe. In other words, it's like being stuck to a fabric. Okay? And the fabric is the universe. In order to leave the universe, you would have to come off that fabric. And now you're in the dimension that existed before the universe. Now I'm going to show you a video right now that demonstrates this. Watch this clip. I edited it just a little bit to make it a little shorter, but I think you'll get the idea.
Welcome to Flatland, a world of only two dimensions. Only forwards and backwards, left and right. In this world, there is no up and no down.
I said to Ray, "Where's Dottie?" He said, "Well, she's out in line." I said,
Where's that from? What the bleep is that thing?
In this world, the two-dimensional beings that live here have no concept of three-dimensional objects. These two-dimensional flatlanders have no understanding of cubes, spheres, tetrahedrons, or yours truly. From their 2D perspective, my 3D finger looks something like this.
What the bladder does that?
Hello, little circle. Don't be afraid.
Who said that? Where are you?
This is always the tricky part to explain. I'm in another dimension, another space. I am above you.
No, never use that word.
What word?
The A word.
Above?
It's forbidden.
Well, what do you think it means?
I don't know, and I don't want to know. You can be severely punished if you use that word. Are you a ghost?
I hope not. I just have a different perspective than you do. I can see things in a way you can't yet.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Well, okay, you have a safe hidden in your pantry. And inside it, you have 12 coins, a will, and a passport.
How did you know that? What are you? Are you a god?
Well, no more than you. You see, since I am above you, in the third dimension, I can see inside things in your world.
Third dimension? You are a crazy ghost. There's only two. Look.
So, ready for more?
More what?
Dimensions.
Oh.
Directions.
No. Yes, but there aren't any. More? What will happen to me? What will I become?
You'd have to become it to know.
Okay.
Excellent.
I never knew.
Okay, so that little circle, that little, let's call it a, you know, a Pac-Man figure or a Weeble or whatever, that entity that was living in that two-dimensional universe, well, she was actually on a sheet, okay, and stuck to it. And what did that thing that came down, that entity that was above, that was beyond those two dimensions, what did it do? It took her and it peeled her off of that fabric into the third dimension, which is where we are. So if you can imagine us being that guy going down and going, hey, you know, I can see things that you can't. I can see inside of all your rooms at the same time, through the walls, you know, peeling you off of that two-dimensional universe, and all of a sudden you're in this new, amazing, incredible world. It's pretty cool stuff. And I have no doubt in my mind that that exists, that beyond our three dimensions, and we're talking three dimensions, left, right, backwards, forwards, up, down, our three-dimensional space, I have no doubt in my mind that there's a higher dimension, a fourth or a fifth dimension. And that dimension, we can't access it, because we would have to come off of the surface of our universe, our three-dimensional universe. It's like a three-dimensional fabric. We'd have to peel ourselves off of that in order to enter the realm of the higher dimensions. And we haven't figured out how to do that, except when we die.